stop everything you're doing right now, because what's about to happen on January 27th will shake the very foundation of your spiritual journey, and there's absolutely no turning back once this cosmic door opens. In less than 48 hours, a rare celestial alignment is going to trigger karmic debts that have been dormant for years, maybe even decades, and if you're not prepared, you could face consequences that will ripple through every area of your life, including your relationships, your finances, your health, and your deepest sense of purpose. This isn't just another eclipse. This is a karmic reckoning unlike anything we've witnessed since 2006. And the universe is giving you this final warning to get your spiritual house in order before the energy shifts permanently. I am not here to sugarcoat this or tell you everything will be fine if you just think positive thoughts. I'm here to give you the raw truth about what's coming, and more importantly, exactly what you need to do in the next 24 to 48 hours to protect yourself and actually use this energy to clear karmic patterns that have been holding you back your entire life. Listen, I know you've probably heard about eclipses before. You've probably watched videos about retrogrades and moon phases and all the usual spiritual content. But what's happening on January 27th is operating on a completely different frequency. The last time we had this specific nodal configuration combined with this particular eclipse pattern was almost 2 decades ago. And if you look back at what was happening in your life around 2006, you'll start to see the patterns I'm talking about. The North Node and South Node are the mathematical points where the moon's orbit crosses the ecliptic. And in ancient Vedic astrology, these nodes are literally called Rahu and Ketu, the head and tail of the karmic dragon that devours our illusions and forces us to face the truth we've been avoiding. When an eclipse activates these nodes, it's like the universe is pressing the fast-forward button on your karma, bringing forward lessons and debts that were scheduled to arrive much later in your timeline, compressing years of spiritual growth into weeks or even days of intense revelation and transformation. What makes January 27th so critical is that this eclipse is happening at a degree point that hasn't been activated since the mid-2000s. And it's forming what astrologers call a fated angle with Saturn, the planet of karma, discipline, and consequences. Saturn is currently positioned in a way that amplifies karmic debts related to authority, structure, boundaries, and the promises you made to yourself and others that you never fulfilled. If you've been avoiding responsibility in any area of your life, if you've been taking shortcuts or pretending problems don't exist, if you've been spiritually bypassing your growth by hiding behind positivity without doing the actual inner work, this eclipse is going to expose everything. The veil is being lifted whether you're ready or not, and the cosmic energies do not care about your comfort zone or your excuses or your carefully constructed identity that you've been showing the world. Before I go any deeper into what this means for you personally and what you absolutely must do before this eclipse hits, I need you to do something right now that will actually help you receive this information at a deeper level. Hit that like button, because the algorithm needs to know that this information is valuable and needs to reach more people who are on the edge of their own karmic awakening. Subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications, because what's coming in the next few weeks is going to require consistent guidance, and I'll be posting daily updates on how to navigate the energetic shifts as they happen. And here's the most important part. Drop a comment below right now and tell me this. What area of your life feels the most stuck? The most repetitive, the most like you're running in circles no matter how hard you try to move forward? Write it down in the comments, because naming your karmic pattern is the first step to breaking it. And when you publicly acknowledge what you're facing, you're making a spiritual contract with yourself and the universe that you're ready to change. Go ahead and do that now. I'll wait. Because everything I'm about to share will land differently once you've identified your specific karmic challenge. Have you ever felt like you're stuck in a loop, facing the same challenges over and over again? Maybe it's a pattern in your relationships, a constant struggle with finances, or a recurring feeling of being misunderstood. It can be frustrating, making you wonder if you're just unlucky. But what if there's a deeper reason? What if these recurring patterns are not random, but are actually lessons your soul needs to learn? Today, we're diving deep into a fascinating concept called karmic debt. Now, before you think this is about punishment or being a bad person, let's clear that up. Karmic debt isn't a penalty. It's more like an educational course your soul signed up for. It's based on the idea of cause and effect and reincarnation. Actions and choices from past lives can create energetic imbalances that we carry into our current life. Think of it like this. If you skipped a grade in school, You'd have to go back and learn those fundamental lessons to move forward successfully. Karmic debt is similar. It's about mastering lessons we may have missed or mishandled in the past. These debts manifest as specific, recurring challenges designed to help us grow. By understanding and addressing them, we can break free from these cycles and unlock our true potential. It's about empowerment, not punishment. It's an invitation to evolve. So, how do you know if you might have a karmic debt? One of the most common ways to identify it is through numerology, specifically by looking at your birthday. The numbers associated with karmic debt are 13, 14, 16, and 19. If any of these numbers appear as your day of birth, or if they are the result of adding the digits of your birth date together, you might be working through one. Let's break down what each of these numbers means. We'll start with karmic debt number 13. This number is all about hard work and responsibility. In a past life, individuals with this debt might have been lazy, avoided effort, or relied too heavily on others to get things done. They may have taken shortcuts and not put in the necessary work to achieve their goals. As a result, in this life, you might find that you have to work twice as hard as everyone else just to get by. Obstacles seem to pop up out of nowhere, and success feels like an uphill battle. You might feel a constant sense of frustration, as if the universe is always putting roadblocks in your path. The key to clearing this debt is to embrace hard work with a positive attitude. It's about learning discipline, staying focused, and not giving up when things get tough. Instead of seeing obstacles as unfair burdens, see them as opportunities to build strength and resilience. Every task you complete with dedication, no matter how small, helps chip away at this debt. It's about finding satisfaction in a job well done. Next up is karmic debt number 14. This one is tied to the abuse of freedom. In a previous existence, someone with this debt might have been reckless, irresponsible, or perhaps even restricted the freedom of others. They may have lived a life of excess without considering the consequences of their actions on themselves or the people around them. In this lifetime, this can manifest as a feeling of being trapped or restricted. You might face constant, unexpected changes that throw your life into chaos. Plans fall through, relationships are unstable, and you might struggle with commitment or addiction. Life can feel like a roller coaster you can't get off of. The lesson here is to learn moderation, adaptability, and commitment. To balance this debt, you need to establish stability and order in your life. This means being flexible when change happens, but also grounding yourself through discipline and routine. It's about finding freedom within structure, not through escaping responsibility. Committing to your goals, your relationships, and your own well-being is crucial. Then we have karmic debt number 16. This is a powerful one, related to the ego and lessons of humility. It often stems from a past life where there was a misuse of love, leading to hurt and betrayal. This could have involved illicit affairs, neglecting loved ones, or actions driven by vanity and a big ego that caused others pain. In this life, the 16 debt brings about a process of destruction and rebirth. It's like a tower being struck by lightning so that a new, stronger foundation can be built. You might experience sudden, humbling falls from grace. Relationships may crumble, careers might unexpectedly end, and you may feel isolated and alone. These experiences, while painful, are designed to strip away the false self, the ego, and connect you with your true, authentic spirit. The path to clearing this debt is through humility and finding a higher spiritual connection. It's about rebuilding your life on a foundation of truth and genuine love, not on ego or external validation. It's a journey from the head to the heart. Finally, let's talk about karmic debt number 19. This debt is linked to the misuse of power. In a past life, the individual may have been selfishly ambitious, using their position or influence to manipulate or control others for personal gain. They might have been a tyrant in their own world, big or small, ignoring the needs of those around them. The consequence in this lifetime is often a deep-seated feeling of loneliness and isolation. You might struggle to receive help from others, insisting on doing everything yourself. You might feel misunderstood, as if no one truly sees or supports you. This stand-alone attitude is a direct reflection of the past life pattern of putting oneself above everyone else. To resolve this debt, you must learn to connect with others on an equal footing. It's about learning interdependence, giving and receiving help freely. You need to understand that true power comes from collaboration and mutual support, not from domination. By learning to serve others and share your burdens, you break the cycle of isolation and step into a more connected, fulfilling existence. Now, identifying a karmic debt is just the first step. The real work and the real magic happens when you consciously decide to address it. So, what can you do? First, acceptance is key. Acknowledge the pattern without judgment or shame. Remember, this isn't about being a bad person. It's about your soul's curriculum. Say to yourself, okay, I see this pattern. I'm ready to learn this lesson now. Second, be mindful of your daily choices. If you have a 13 debt, do you find yourself procrastinating? Catch yourself and choose to tackle the task head on. If you have a 14 debt, are you being tempted by a quick fix or an escape? Choose moderation and commitment instead. For a 16, is your ego driving a decision? Pause and connect with your heart. For a 19, are you refusing help when you need it? Open up and let someone in. These small, conscious shifts in behavior are incredibly powerful. Third, practice forgiveness, for others and for yourself. Holding on to resentment just keeps the karmic wheel spinning. Forgiveness doesn't mean you condone what happened. It means you're releasing the energetic charge so you can move on. This includes forgiving your past life self for the choices that created the debt. And finally, approach your challenges with a new perspective. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask, what is this trying to teach me? This simple question shifts you from a victim mindset to an empowered student of life. Every obstacle becomes a lesson, every challenge an opportunity for growth. Working through karmic debt is a journey of self-awareness and conscious action. It's not an overnight fix, but a gradual process of becoming the best version of yourself. By understanding these ancient lessons written in our very birthdays, we can transform our greatest struggles into our greatest strengths. We can break the cycles and finally step into a life of freedom, purpose, and joy. So take a look at your birthday. See if any of these numbers resonate with your life's journey. Even if they don't appear in your numerology chart, the lessons they teach are universal. We can all benefit from more diligence, moderation, humility, and connection. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into karmic debt. I hope this has brought some clarity and empowerment to your own journey. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more content on understanding ourselves and the universe. What are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments below. See you in the next video. Second, you need to complete any unfinished business before the eclipse. Reach out to people you need to apologize to. Have the difficult conversations you've been avoiding. Pay the debts you owe, whether they're financial or emotional or spiritual. Clean your physical space because external clutter reflects internal chaos, and the eclipse energy will move much more smoothly through a clear environment. Finish projects you started and abandoned, or consciously decide to let them go and release the guilt around not completing them. The eclipse is a cosmic closing of chapters, and anything left hanging open is going to get forcefully closed in a way that might not be gentle. Third, create a protection and clearing practice for the 24 hours surrounding the eclipse. This could be meditation, prayer, energy work, ritual, ceremony, whatever resonates with your spiritual path. The key is to intentionally create a container for the eclipse energy, so it doesn't just randomly blow through your life wreaking havoc. Light a candle with the intention of illuminating what needs to be seen. Take a salt bath or shower to clear your energetic field. Sage or Palo Santo your space. Call in your guides, angels, ancestors, or whatever higher powers you work with, and ask for protection and clarity. Write down what you're ready to release on a piece of paper and burn it. Visualize cutting energetic cords to people, places, situations, and patterns that no longer serve your highest good. Fourth, and this is where most people mess up, set clear intentions for what you want to call in through this eclipse portal. Yes, it's clearing old karma, but it's also opening space for new energy, new opportunities, new relationships, new levels of abundance and purpose. What do you want your life to look like 6 months from now? What version of yourself are you ready to become? What miracles are you willing to receive? Write this down in present tense as if it's already happened. I am in a loving, supportive relationship. I am financially abundant and secure. I am expressing my gifts in work that fulfills me. I am healthy, energized, and aligned with my purpose. The eclipse is a manifestation accelerator, but you have to give it clear instructions about what you're manifesting. I want to pause here for a moment because I know this is a lot of information, and the energy of what's coming might be bringing up fear or anxiety or resistance in your body right now. Take a breath. Seriously, pause this video if you need to and just breathe for a minute. This eclipse is not happening to punish you, it's happening to liberate you. Every karmic debt that gets paid is a weight lifted off your soul. Every pattern that gets broken is a prison door opening. Every truth that gets revealed is a lie that can no longer control you. The discomfort you might feel over the next few weeks is not a sign that something is wrong. It's a sign that something is finally becoming right after being wrong for way too long. If you're finding value in this information, and you want to make sure you're fully prepared for what's coming, smash that like button again because we're only halfway through, and what I'm about to share next is the most important part. Make sure you're subscribed because I'll be going live right after the eclipse to help you process what came up and how to integrate the lessons. And comment below with the number 27 if you're committing right now to doing the preparation work I just outlined. Because when you publicly declare your commitment, you're activating accountability energy that will help you follow through. Now let's talk about the specific signs and how this eclipse is affecting different people based on where it's landing in your personal chart. If you're an Aries or Libra, this eclipse is hitting your relationship axis hard, and you're being forced to completely restructure how you show up in partnerships, whether romantic, business, or friendship. The people-pleasing has to stop. The codependency has to end. The avoiding of conflict, because you want to keep the peace, has to transform into healthy boundary setting and authentic communication. If you're a Cancer or Capricorn, this eclipse is activating your career and home foundation axis, and you're being asked to bring better balance between your public ambitions and your private life, between what you're building in the world and what you're nurturing in your inner world. If you're a Leo or Aquarius, this is hitting your self-expression and community involvement, and you're being called to step into more authentic leadership, while also learning to collaborate and contribute to the collective. If you're a Virgo or Pisces, this is about your daily routines, your health, your service, and your spiritual practices. And you're being asked to ground your mystical nature in practical action, while also allowing more flow and intuition into your structured life. Taurus and Scorpio, you're experiencing this eclipse on your transformation and values axis, and deep changes are happening in how you relate to money, resources, sexuality, power, and shared energy. Gemini and Sagittarius, this is activating your knowledge and belief systems, and you're being challenged to communicate your truth more effectively, while also expanding your understanding of perspectives different from your own. But here's the thing. Even if I didn't specifically mention your sign, this eclipse is affecting everyone. Because it's happening in the collective sky, and we're all part of the collective consciousness. The question isn't whether you'll be affected, it's how consciously you'll work with the energy versus how much you'll resist and make it harder on yourself. One of the most powerful things you can do during an eclipse is to pay attention to your dreams, because the veil between the conscious and subconscious mind gets very thin, and messages that your ego might normally block during waking hours can come through in your sleep. Keep a dream journal next to your bed and write down everything you remember as soon as you wake up for at least a week before and after January 27th. The symbols, the people, the emotions, the scenarios, all of it is trying to tell you something about your karmic patterns and what needs to shift. Your subconscious mind knows exactly what your karma is about. It knows what you're here to heal. It knows what lessons you're here to learn, and an eclipse gives it permission to speak more loudly than usual. Also pay attention to what breaks, what gets lost, what ends suddenly around the eclipse, because these are not random accidents, they're cosmic course corrections. If your car breaks down and you're forced to slow down, maybe the universe is telling you you've been moving too fast and missing important signs. If a relationship ends suddenly, even though it seemed fine, maybe the universe is telling you it was actually keeping you stuck in an old pattern and you needed to be freed. If you lose a job or a client or an opportunity, maybe the universe is telling you it wasn't aligned with where you're actually meant to go. Eclipses clear out what's not meant for you, so that what is meant for you has room to arrive. But our human ego gets so attached to what we think we want that we often miss the blessing in the breakdown. Here's another crucial piece that most spiritual teachers won't tell you. This eclipse is also activating collective karma, not just individual karma. We're all part of family systems, cultural systems, ancestral lineages, and societal structures that carry karma that isn't personally ours, but that we're unconsciously carrying anyway. This is why sometimes you feel anxiety or depression or anger that doesn't seem to have a source in your current life. It's ancestral trauma, it's collective wounds, it's systemic karma being stored in your body and your energy field. January 27th is giving us all an opportunity to release and heal, not just for ourselves but for everyone who came before us and everyone who will come after us. When you do your clearing work, when you break your patterns, when you choose differently than your parents and grandparents did, you're literally changing your family's karmic trajectory for generations. The shadow side of this eclipse that you need to be aware of is that it can trigger old wounds around rejection, abandonment, betrayal, and not being good enough. If you've experienced trauma around these themes in the past, expect those feelings to come up again, not because you're going backwards, but because you're being given another opportunity to heal them at a deeper level than you were capable of before. The spiritual growth you've done since the last time these wounds were activated has prepared you to finally release them for good, but that release requires you to feel them one more time, to witness them without judgment, to send love and compassion to the younger version of you who first experienced that pain. This is where a lot of people get stuck. They feel the old pain coming up and they think, I've already worked on this, why is it back? And they get discouraged or frustrated. But actually the fact that it's back means you're finally ready to complete the healing that you only partially did before. Let me be very clear about something that the spiritual community often gets wrong. You cannot just love and light your way through karma. You cannot just affirm and visualize your way out of karmic debt. You cannot bypass the actual work with spiritual concepts and pretty words. Karma requires action. It requires change. It requires you to actually do something different than what you've always done. If your karma is about learning to speak your truth, you have to actually speak even when your voice shakes. If your karma is about learning to receive love and support, you have to actually let people help you instead of always being the strong one. If your karma is about learning healthy boundaries, you have to actually say no to things that drain you. The universe responds to action, to demonstration, to proof that you're serious about changing. And an eclipse is a test. It's going to create situations that require you to show what you've learned or reveal where you're still stuck in the old pattern. Now we're getting close to the end of this transmission, and I want to make sure you're ready for what comes after the eclipse, because that's when the real work begins. The eclipse is the download, it's the activation, it's the wake-up call, but the integration is what happens in the weeks and months that follow. You're going to be tested, you're going to have opportunities to fall back into old patterns, or to choose the new way. You're going to face moments where it would be easier to go unconscious again than to stay awake to what the eclipse revealed. This is where most people lose the benefits of the eclipse. They get the download, they have the revelation, they feel the energy, and then they go right back to their old life and wonder why nothing changed. Don't be that person. Create accountability structures for yourself after the eclipse. Tell a trusted friend what you're working on, and ask them to check in with you weekly. Hire a coach or therapist or spiritual guide who can help you navigate the changes. Join a community of people who are also doing the work so you don't feel alone in the process. Keep a journal and track your patterns, your triggers, your wins, your setbacks, your insights. The more conscious you are about what's happening, the more power you have to direct it toward positive transformation, instead of letting it just happen to you randomly. And here's something most people don't know about eclipses. They come in pairs, sometimes triplets, and they happen in cycles. This eclipse on January 27th is part of a larger eclipse series that's been activating a particular karmic axis for the past 18 months and will continue for another year. So what you're experiencing now is actually part of a bigger story, a longer arc of growth and evolution that your soul planned before you incarnated. Look back at what's been happening in your life since mid-2023. And you'll see the through line, you'll see the consistent themes, you'll see what your soul has been trying to teach you. January 27th is a climax point in that story. It's a turning point. It's the moment where the lesson either clicks into place or you get another round of the same pattern at an even more intense level. Before we close, I need you to do one more thing for me and for yourself and for everyone else who needs this information. Leave a comment right now describing one specific action you're going to take before the eclipse to prepare yourself. Not a vague intention like, I'm going to work on myself, but a concrete action like, I'm going to call my sister and apologize for what I said last year, or I'm going to finally file those divorce papers I've been avoiding, or I'm going to start that meditation practice I keep saying I don't have time for. When you publicly commit to an action, you're exponentially more likely to follow through. And when other people see your commitment, it gives them permission to make their own. This is how we create collective healing. One brave choice at a time. One honest action at a time. One person at a time deciding they're ready to break the pattern. The bottom line is this. January 27th is not a day to be afraid of. It's a day to be prepared for. It's not a cosmic punishment. It's a cosmic opportunity. It's not the universe being cruel. It's the universe being merciful enough to force you to face what you've been avoiding so you can finally be free. Your karma is not your enemy. It's your teacher, and the lessons it brings are exactly what you need to become, who you're meant to be. The debts you're being asked to pay are not unfair burdens. They're simply the balancing of energy that allows you to move forward unencumbered by the past. In these final hours before the eclipse, I want you to approach this with reverence, with humility, with courage, and with trust. Reverence for the cosmic forces that are so much bigger than your individual life, but that care enough about your soul's evolution to orchestrate these perfect moments of awakening. Humility to admit where you've been wrong, where you've been stuck, where you've been hiding from your own greatness. Courage to face whatever the eclipse reveals, no matter how uncomfortable or inconvenient the truth might be. And trust that the universe is always working in your favor, even when it doesn't feel like it. Even when the path is painful. Even when you can't see where it's leading. You are not the same person you were the last time these eclipse energies were this powerful back in 2006. You have grown, you have learned, you have evolved. You have done so much healing work whether you give yourself credit for it or not. You are more ready than you think you are to handle what's coming. Your soul knew this eclipse was on the calendar when it chose to incarnate at this particular time in history. Which means you specifically signed up for this moment. You specifically wanted to be here for this karmic clearing. You specifically have something important to learn or teach or heal through this experience. So step into January 27th with your eyes wide open, your heart fully engaged, your mind clear and focused, and your spirit ready to receive. Do the preparation work I outlined, create your protection practices, set your intentions, complete your unfinished business, and then surrender to whatever needs to happen. Trust the process, trust your path, trust that every single thing that occurs is happening for your highest good, even if it doesn't make sense in the moment. If this video resonated with you and helped you understand what you're facing and how to prepare for it, hit that like button one final time and leave it blue, because this is information that more people need to hear. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because I'll be posting daily guidance through this eclipse portal. And you don't want to miss the tools and insights that will help you integrate what comes up. And leave me a comment. Tell me what you're feeling right now. Tell me what came up for you while watching this. Tell me what you're afraid of. Tell me what you're excited about. Tell me what action you're committing to. Because your voice matters. And your experience matters. And when you share it, you help other people feel less alone in their own journey. The eclipse is activating all of us. We're all in this together. And the more we support each other through the intensity, the more we all benefit from the transformation. I'll see you on the other side.